Back in my 20s, I was with a guy who wanted to get married, and I didn't know what to do. At that time, I was not the marrying type. I had goals, I had dreams, I wanted adventure. And this guy just wanted home and babies. So I went around asking people how they knew that their spouse was the one. And the advice they gave me was this: they said, "You just know." That's it, I thought. You just know? Yeah. Well, I didn't have that kind of unshakable confidence in my relationship. I couldn't see us 10 years into the future. And so I decided that marriage wasn't on the table for me after all. It would take me decades before I finally realized that this advice wasn't great advice after all. Knowing that you're meant to be with somebody can be a product of wishful thinking just as easily as it can be a nudge from destiny. There are actually 5 ways to test this idea that you're soulmates, and I can't wait to share them with you. Hi, I'm Amy Waterman. I am a love expert here at yourbrilliance.com. And in this video, I'm going to be giving you 5 clear signs that he is not your soulmate. I get it. When you are with somebody in that new flesh of a new relationship, it always feels like this person is your soulmate. But those are nature's love chemicals coursing through your veins, and they're designed for the sole purpose of making sure the human race survives. So they've got to be some of the most powerful chemicals on earth. Otherwise, we might think twice about what we're getting into. So if you are still caught up in the amazingness of this new relationship, hold your horses. You can't even ask the question of whether you're soulmates until you hit the reality check. Now, the reality check phase of the relationship is when you start to cool down and see him for who he really is. You start to see his flaws, and he starts to get on your nerves, and you start fighting about things. Now, crazily enough, this is when good relationships actually find their feet. You can't genuinely love somebody until you see who they truly are, both the good and the bad. Because as long as you're caught up in a rosy-hued love bubble, you're seeing that person for who you want them to be. So if I can give you one piece of advice, it's this: wait until the honeymoon period has come to a close and you start to have doubts, because that's when you can finally see the truth about whether you're soulmates after all. So here I am having doubts about this guy that I'm not sure if I should be marrying. So how can I be sure that those are just natural doubts rather than a sign that we're not meant to be together? There are 5 signs you should look for. Sign number 1, how you show up as a couple in public is different to how you show up together at home. So when you're around other people, it's easy to take on that role of the perfect couple. But when the two of you are alone together, things change and he doesn't treat you quite the same. A guy who treats you differently in front of other people has something to hide. Because when you have a soul connection, it shines through no matter where you are or who you're with. Sign number 2, he sometimes treats you badly and doesn't attempt to repair. Does your guy ever make mean jokes about you or do things that he knows hurts your feelings? Look, we all make mistakes, but when we have a soul connection with somebody, we can't bear to have anything rupture that connection. So we apologize and we make repairs. If he doesn't care about restoring the connection between you, or he expects you to forget about it and let it go, that's not a soul connection. Sign number 3, your friends aren't as enthusiastic about him as you are. Our friends often know us better than we know ourselves because they see how we change when we're with someone new. They see whether this new guy brings out the best in us or whether he makes us insecure. So ask your friends if they think he brings out the best in you. But just remember, they may not tell you the truth if they know it's not what you want to hear. Sign number 4, there are things you cannot talk to him about. Now, for me, this was the biggest sign that my guy wasn't the one. We couldn't talk about some very basic but important things concerning our future. He would just dismiss me by saying, "Love conquers all." And my response, "Love conquers all because it makes plans." Wanting to know how your future is going to play out is perfectly normal. Wanting to know what you're going to do about your differences is perfectly normal. That's part of the work of relationships. You've got to communicate. So if he is shutting you down because you're talking about something that upsets him, that doesn't bode well for your future. Sign number 5, he's not interested in growing. Relationships don't stay the same, and people don't stay the same. We evolve and grow despite ourselves. A guy who thinks that things have to be just like they are now forever is a guy who doesn't realize what's ahead. The future makes demands of us. We've got to change how we do things in order to adapt. And for me, part of the joy of relationships is growing together because you surprise each other every day. When you love somebody on a soul level, you don't set limits on that person. You want to see them become whoever they're meant to be. Now that you know the 5 signs that a guy is not your soulmate, where do you think you are in your relationship? Do you need more information? Or are you certain now more than ever that this guy really is the one? Let me know in the comments. And hey, if you've got any questions for me, please drop me a line below because it helps me so much to know what you're thinking so that I can make these videos. Thank you so much for hanging out with me, and I will see you next time.